Welcome to Mercedes-Benz Classic Centre in Stuttgart. I'm here with the new 7th generation version of the S-Class, and I'm actually surrounded by all its ancestors. And in this video, I'm going to talk you through each and every one of them so you can see how the S-Class developed over the years.
Buying a new car? Then head to carwow, and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. Carwow, your one-stop car buying comparison site.
This is where it all began in 1904 with the Mercedes Simplex 60 horsepower Ricer limousine. It's the great-great-great-great-grandfather to the S-Class, and it was owned by a chap called Emil Jelinek, and he's the guy who actually gave Mercedes its brand name. Next came this, the Nürburgring 460. It actually had the name Mercedes-Benz because by now Daimler and Benz had merged. So this car was tested at the Nürburgring, that's where it gets its name from, and it was quick for its day. 60 miles an hour and also very reliable. Then in 1951 came this, the 220. The design of it is actually inspired by a one-off car that Mercedes-Benz built for the German Chancellor of that time. And it was the first time that the letter S went on a luxury car from Mercedes, because you could get an S version of this with a larger, more powerful engine, more luxurious interior and a larger body. Now here we have the great-grandfather for the S-Class. It's the 220 Ponton from 1955. So Ponton in English would be pontoon, and it refers to a bridge. It's a makeshift bridge, of which there'd be quite a lot in Germany following the war. Now the design of this car is a three-box design. It's the first time that you had that on a Mercedes, and that mimics a pontoon bridge, hence the name. It's also the first Mercedes to get a unibody construction. So instead of a chassis with a body on top, it's all one unit, and that means there's more space inside. It also uses the axles of a racing car. And as with the previous model, you could get an S version which was more powerful and more luxurious. In 1959, the Heckenfloss was introduced. Now it's called Heckenfloss, which means tail fin, and you can clearly see that this car was inspired by American cars of this era. It was the first time Mercedes ever really thought about safety, so you had crumple zones in the front, you had a safety cell for where the passengers sat, and you could get a 220 version, a 220S, a 220 SE, and this is the 300 SE Lang, which stands for long, because it's very long. And this car was available with optional central locking. It had a nickname, the Parksteiger. Probably said that wrong, but what that means is it's a sort of German joke based on parking assistant, because they used to use the fins at the back to know where the rear of the car was when they were reversing up, so that they didn't damage the back end. Bit like an old-fashioned form of parking camera. In 1965, the father of the S-Class arrived. This is actually a 300 SEL 6.3 from 1969. And really, this was the first time that Mercedes started to fit huge, powerful engines to its limousine. So this one has a 6.3 litre V8 with 250 horsepower. Now, at the time, there were a couple of employees working for Mercedes, and Mercedes stopped racing. They got a bit annoyed, so they went away and set up their own company, bought one of these, bored it out to 6.8 litres. They took it racing at Spa. This big car went blasting past smaller, lighter sports cars. It actually came second. Now the car had a nickname. It was called the Red Sow, which is red female pig, because it was a big red car. And it was actually a huge success for the guys who took it racing. And so they went on to form their racing company, which became a tuning company. And you might have heard of it. It's called AMG. In 1972, the S-Class was born. This is actually a 300 SEL from 1980, and it had a 6.9 litre V8 with 286 horsepower. Now the S-Class was the first car from Mercedes to feature ABS. It was also the first S-Class to get a turbo diesel engine. In 1979, the second generation version of the S-Class arrived, and it had a few key features. For starters, it was the first time Mercedes had a plastic bumper on its car. So normally it'd be chrome, but if you had a little parking ding, that would be damaged, whereas the plastic, more resilient. It actually had some safety features as well. It was the first car from Mercedes to have traction control, so to stop your wheels spinning up when you accelerate. It was also the first car ever to feature an airbag. Mercedes patented that design, but they gave it to other car makers to use for free to improve the safety for everyone. This particular car here is the end of the line 1991 560 SEL with a 5.5 litre V8 with 300 horsepower. The second generation version of the S-Class is actually the best-selling model ever, with more than 800,000 sold worldwide. Normally, they sell around 400,000 per model generation. In 1991, the third generation of the S-Class was introduced, and it pioneered many technologies which you get on modern cars today. So it was the first car to get electronic stability control. Also, it was available with satellite navigation, voice commands, braking assist. This one's got the parking sensors on it. It is all very, very modern. This particular car you see here is a 1998 320, so it's got a 3.2 litre engine. Now, if that's not enough for you, you could get it with a 6-litre V12 with 408 horsepower. In fact, it's the first time that an S-Class was available with a V12. A guy called Arnold Schwarzenegger had one, unsurprisingly. Now we come to the fourth generation version of the S-Class, which was introduced in 1998, and it features something called Distronic, which is a very clever cruise control system which uses a radar to keep you a safe distance from the car in front so you don't just drive into the back of it. It also featured a command system, which is a computer-based infotainment system, which has now been superseded by MBUX, and it also had active body control, which stopped the car from diving or pitching under accelerating and braking, or from rolling in the corners. This is actually a 2004 model year, so a later version of the fourth generation S-Class. In 2005, the fifth generation version of the S-Class came along, so that took the Distronic cruise control from the fourth generation model and added a plus to it, which meant it could use the car's brakes as well to bring you down to a complete stop in stop-start traffic, which is really handy. One thing for me about this car though, as illustrated by this late 2013 car, is the fact that the interior is much improved over that fourth generation car. Finally, we come to the sixth generation S-Class, so it's the model that's about to be replaced, and this one's looking a bit worse for wear because they've cut away a lot of the body panels so you can see all the tech in here, because there's absolutely loads on it. For instance, check this out. These are the little airbags for the massage function, and for the first time ever it could do different kinds of massages, even a hot stone massage. You also had special perfume being blown through the ventilation system. It had matrix LED headlights which could blank out part of its beam so you don't dazzle oncoming drivers. This car has so many sensors and cameras on it, it can actually drive itself, though obviously not legally on the road. It also has magic body control, so it uses a camera to look the road ahead and it can spot bumps, and when you approach them it'll lift up the wheels so that you don't feel the bumps as you drive over them. It was also the first Mercedes to feature two huge digital infotainment screens. It's absolutely rammed full of tech, and the new one is even more advanced.
If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Also, comment below any kind of other videos you'd like us to do. If you want to watch some more videos, click on the windows there. And if you click on the box, you can download the carwow app. It's completely free. You can use it to browse all our reviews and see how much money we can save you on a new car. On average, we can save £3,600. That's right. Also, it has a special number plate reader, so you can scan any car's number plate and it'll tell you how much that car is currently worth. Download it, it's completely free.